Hello Korean learners, let's learn the location of action particle 에서 and the direction and destination particle 으로, 로 in this lesson. Let's go. The next particle you're going to learn is the location of action particle 에서. This particle is used to indicate the location or the place where the action actually takes place. In other words, you use this particle 에서 instead of the preposition in or at when you say something like I did something in or at somewhere. You learned a different location particle 에 in the previous lesson, right? The difference between 에 and 에서 is very obvious actually. As I've just said, you need to use this particle 에서 when you indicate the place where the action actually takes place, as if you use in or at in English. Action means a verb. That's it and that's all. That's why I call this particle the location of action particle 에서, rather than just a location particle. And 에 and 에서 cannot be interchangeably used. Please remember that. There is only one exception I can think of, and I will talk about it in the next page. Let's see some examples. I am studying at school now. In Korean, it is going to be more like I, now, at school, am studying. Let's position the time-related noun now, which can also be an adverb, right after the subject. And let's use the actual present continuous tense form by adding 고 있어요 to the stem of the verb study. I, 저는, or 제가, now, 지금. As I said, 지금 can be either a noun or an adverb. Thus, you cannot add the time particle 에. At school. School is 학교 in Korean. 학교 is the place where the action studying is taking place. So you add a location of action particle 에서 to 학교. 학교에서. At school, 학교에서. Am studying. The base form of the verb to study is 공부하다. The stem is 공부하, and you add 고 있어요. 공부하고 있어요. I, 저는, now, 지금, at school, 학교에서, am studying, 공부하고 있어요. 저는 지금 학교에서 공부하고 있어요. Of course, you can use the present simple tense form 공부해요 instead of 공부하고 있어요. 저는 지금 학교에서 공부해요. No problem. Doesn't sound unnatural at all. Even if you use a different place such as in the library, at home, in the jungle, under the sea, in the space, in the multiverse, in your dream, wherever it is, you just add this particle 에서 to the noun which indicates the place where the action takes place. Okay? Let's see the next example. I slept in a car last night. In Korean, the order of the words would be more like I, last night, in a car, slept, right? I, 저는, last night, 어젯밤, and please add a time particle 에, 어젯밤에, last night. In a car is 차 in Korean. 차 is a noun, which is the place in which you slept last night. So you definitely need to add a location of action particle 에서, 차에서, in a car. Slept. The base form of the verb to sleep is 자다. You slept. It's in the past tense, so you add the ending 았어요 to the stem 자. 자 and 앗 sound must be combined, and it becomes 잣. 잤어요. 잤어요. I, 저는 last night, 어젯밤에 in a car, 차에서 slept, 잤어요. 저는 어젯밤에 차에서 잤어요. It's nothing, right? Next example. This one contains more grammatical elements and particles. Let's take a close look at this one. I drink coffee at a park every morning. Now, first of all, you have an object, coffee, of the verb drink. So you can use the object particle 을 for coffee. Of course, you can omit it, but let's not. Let's practice together. A park is the place where the action drinking takes place. and you have a time-related phrase every morning, you would probably be able to use the time particle 에 with this one. 저는 every morning should be more like everyday morning in Korean. Every day is 매일 and morning is 아침. 매일 is an adverb, so you cannot add a time particle 에 to it. But 아침 is definitely a noun, so you can add a time particle 에. 매일 아침에. I'll explain something a bit complicated, so please listen carefully. 매일 아침 can be used without the particle 에 actually. Where you think 매일 아침 is one word or one phrase, you don't have to use the time particle 에 because 매일 아침 itself can be considered to be an adverbial phrase or adverb, which indicates something happens habitually or regularly, as though every morning is in English. As I said, particles are not added to an adverb or an adverbial phrase. But where you think 매일 and 아침 are separate words, and you want to express every day in the morning, then you need to add the particle 에 to 아침, because 아침 is definitely a noun. So 매일 아침 sounds more like every morning, and 매일 아침에 sounds more like every day in the morning. Make sense? Great. At a park is 공원 in Korean. You absolutely need to add a location of action particle 에서, because 공원 is the place where you drink your coffee. 공원에서, at a park. Coffee is just 커피 in Korean. It's a loan word that we borrowed its sound from a foreign language, but unfortunately, we don't have F sound in Korean, so there is no F-bomb in Korean. Just kidding. I love Korean swearing and curse language. Maybe we can talk about it sometime. Anyway, Koreans tend to use the P sound for the F sound. 커피. This is the object of the verb to drink, so you can add the object particle 을. The last P sound doesn't have a final consonant, so you should add 를 sound. 커피를. You can use the English pronunciation coffee too, with F sound, no problem. 커피를. As I said, the object particle 을 can always be omitted, but let's keep using it for your practice. Drink. This is something you do every morning, something habitual and repetitive. Therefore, you use the present simple tense. The base form of the verb to drink in Korean is 마시다. The stem is 마시, and you add a present simple ending 어요. 마시 plus 어요. The last letter of the stem 시 sound doesn't have a final consonant, therefore you need to combine 시 and sound together, and it becomes 셔 sound. 마시어요 becomes 마셔요. 저는 every morning or every day in the morning, 매일 아침에 at a park, 공원에서 커피를 drink, 마셔요. 저는 매일 아침에 공원에서 커피를 마셔요. Now I put the particles in red, but I will not do this forever, so please try to get used to these particles. As I said, the Korean language is all about particles and endings, and I am not even exaggerating. Why I keep using 저는 instead of 제가? Just because I feel like this is the answer to a question like, what is your morning routine? Are you asking me? As for me, if I talk about myself, the topic particle 는 goes better with the context in my head. I cannot think of any context where the subject particle is more suitable for this sentence. That's all. Now, let's briefly talk about the verb which can be used with either 에 or 에서. Actually, it's more about the particle 에. More specifically, it's about one of the usages of the particle 에. You will know what it means very shortly. Please take a look at this English sentence. I live in Canada now. I now in Canada, live. To live in Korean is 살다, and 살다 is almost identical to the English verb to live, which means 살다 can mean to be alive or to have a home in a specified place. Where do you live? 저는, now, 지금. You don't need to distinguish now, at present, currently, and at the moment for now. You can keep using 지금. If you want to mean from now on, you should say from now on in Korean. Let's talk about it later. In Canada, Canada is just 캐나다 in Korean. Because we are going to use the verb 살다, to live, and Canada is the place where the action of living takes place, you can definitely use the location of action particle 에서. 캐나다에서, in Canada. Live, the stem 살 plus 아요, 살아요. 저는, now, 지금, in Canada, 캐나다에서, live, 살아요. 저는 지금 캐나다에서 살아요. I, now, in Canada, live. Amazingly, this verb 살다, to live, can be used with the particle 에 as well. So, 저는 지금 캐나다에 살아요 is also perfectly correct. It's not actually because of the verb 살다, but because of one of the usages of the particle 에. The particle 에 can be used to indicate the place of someone's existence. There must be other examples with different predicates, but I can't think of anything else for now. Probably you don't need to know either. Just remember the fact that the verb 살다 can be used with either 에 or 에서. They'll be enough. 지금 캐나다에서 살아요. With the location of action particle 에서 sounds more like you're indicating the place where the action of living takes place. 지금 캐나다에 살아요. With the location particle 에 sounds more like you're indicating where you're at or indicating the place where you live at. Okay? Next example. I am at home now or I'm home now. You've seen the same example in the previous lesson, right? You use the location particle 에 because there is no action here. I, now, at home, am. 저는 지금 집에 있어요. I am showing you this example again because I've heard native Korean speakers say 저는 지금 집에서 있어요. 집에서 있어요. Using the location of action particle 에서. Well, as you know, whatever it is, whichever language it is, once native speakers say that, it should be correct even if it's not correct. That's the power and the right of native speakers in any language. But for you, please don't use 에서 here, simply because it's confusing. The next two examples will show you the difference between 에 and 에서 clearly. I, in the evening, in the office, was. I was in the office in the evening, right? You're in the office. There's no action. 저는 in the evening. 저녁 plus the time particle 에. 저녁에. In the office. Office is 사무실 in Korean. You should add a particle 에 because was is not an action. 사무실에. Was. You use the predicate 있다, which basically means to exist. It's in the past tense, so you need to add a past tense ending 없어요. The stem it plus 없어요. 있었어요. 저는 in the evening, 저녁에 in the office, 사무실에 was, 있었어요. 저는 저녁에 사무실에 있었어요. 저는 저녁에 사무실에서 있었어요. Possible. But as I said, please don't use 에서 where there is no actual action. Okay? Next sentence. I, in the evening, in the office, worked. I worked in the office in the evening. Now the verb to work is used, and the office is the place where the action of working took place. Therefore, you should use the location of action particle 에서. You cannot use the particle 에. You cannot. Worked. The base form of the verb to work is 일하다. The stem is 일하. The past tense ending 했어요 replaces the 하 sound, so it becomes 일했어요. 저는 저녁에 사무실에서 일했어요. If you add yesterday, 저는 어제 저녁에 사무실에서 일했어요. Okay? The next particle you're going to learn is the particle 으로, 로. Korean particles usually have multiple usages, but you don't need to know them all. This particle 으로, 로 also has many usages, and this is one of them. You don't need to worry about other usages that I don't teach in my lessons. This particle 으로, 로 is used to indicate a direction, or both direction and destination at the same time. This particle 으로, 로 is very similar to the English preposition towards or the phrasal verb head for. But the difference is towards is not used to indicate the destination, but 으로, 로 can be used to indicate the destination and the direction at the same time. At the same time is the important part. What was the particle that was used to indicate the destination? Yes, the destination particle 에, right? So 으로, 로 and 에 can be used interchangeably in many cases, but 에 doesn't indicate the direction, but it only indicates the destination. So when you want to express both direction and destination at the same time, you can use this particle 으로, 로. It's your choice considering the context. But if you misunderstand the context and use this particle 으로, 로 unnecessarily, the sentence will sound a bit awkward, even if it is not grammatically wrong. I'll show you an example. Needless to say, 으로 with a round empty i은 consonant is used where there is a final consonant in the formal block, and 로 is used where there is no final consonant in the formal block. Let's see some examples. I'm going home now. I, now, home, am going. Home here is the destination, so you can definitely use the destination particle 에. I, 저는, now, 지금, home, 집 plus the destination particle 에, 집에, am going, 가고 있어요. 저는 지금 집에 가고 있어요. Sounds nice and neat since 집 is clearly your destination. Let's use the direction and the destination particle 으로, 로 instead of 에. 저는 지금 집 plus 으로 집으로 가고 있어요. 저는 지금 집으로 가고 있어요. The difference between 집에 and the 집으로? 집으로 absolutely sounds more like towards. You're going towards that direction, but it indicates your destination too, which is your home. You can simply use 으로, 로 when you want to provide a nuance of you moving towards that direction as well. It's up to you. Let's see the next example. I came to Korea last year. I, last year, to Korea, came. You're still in Korea when you say this. We have a time-related noun, which means last year in Korean, and Korea here is the destination of the verb came. That's clearly the destination, so let's use the destination particle 에 first. I, 저는, or 제가, last year, 작년. 작년 is a noun, which means a year before the current year. It's a noun, so you must have to add a time particle 에. 작년에. Why 작년 is pronounced 작년 with the ing sound? I'll tell you sometime soon. To Korea. 한국 plus 에. 한국에. Came. The stem 오 plus 왔어요 becomes 왔어요. 왔어요. When did you come to Korea? 저는 작년에 한국에 왔어요. I last year to Korea came. 저는 작년에 한국에 왔어요. Now, let's use the particle 으로, 로 for the same sentence. 저는 last year, 작년에 to Korea, 한국 plus 으로, 한국으로 came, 왔어요. 저는 작년에 한국으로 왔어요. The sentence itself is flawless. But would you please think carefully about the exact meaning of this sentence? In which case would you need to express the direction and the destination at the same time? Do you really think you need to express the direction when you simply want to say you came to Korea last year? Please think about the possible context. I'm not saying this sentence sounds awkward. It is a perfect sentence. What I am trying to tell you is, it is all up to you. You choose a particle depending on what you want to express. Let me give you a possible context as an example. For example, I was going to go to Japan or to China at the beginning, but finally decided to come to Korea. Then I would use this direction and a destination particle 으로, 로. Change your destination and you turned your head to the direction towards Korea and decide to head for Korea and came to Korea after all. Can you feel something? That's the nuance this particle 으로, 로 provides. So if you don't need that nuance, you can just keep using the destination particle 에, no problem. Let's see the next example. My friend, now, here, am coming. My friend is coming here now. My friend, my can be 제. So my friend is 제 친구. You can omit 제, no problem. Let's use the subject particle 이, 가 this time. 제 친구가. You might wonder why. My answer will be always the same. Just based on the simplest possible context in my head. That's all. I don't think I would need the nuance of comparing or changing the topic here. So, now, 지금, here, 여기. 여기 is a pronoun, so you add a particle. You can of course add a destination particle, 에. But let's use the direction and the destination particle, 으로, 로. 여기 plus 로. 여기로. am coming. 오고 있어요. My friend, 제 친구가. now, 지금. here, 여기로. am coming. 오고 있어요. 제 친구가 지금 여기로 오고 있어요. The direction and the destination particle 으로, 로 goes very well with this sentence because it can provide a nuance that my friend set his direction and is heading for this place. Before we wrap up this lesson, let's summarize this lesson with this one page. Of course, the particle 에 is used for time-related nouns too, but if we talk only about a place and a destination, 에 is used to say something or someone is somewhere, basically. And 에서 is used to say someone does something somewhere. Okay? When you go to or come to somewhere, you use either 에 or 으로, 로. But you need to remember the fact that 으로, 로 provides the nuance of indicating the direction as towards or head for does in English. So if you don't need to express the nuance of direction, you don't need to use 으로, 로. 에 would be always fine. That's it for this lesson. Let's learn about other usages of the particle 에서 and 으로, 로 in the next lesson. See you next time. Ciao.